Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we will be painting a hanging plant using watercolor. Welcome to Creatively Me with Bree. You guessed it, I'm Bree. Hey. If you don't know much about me, well, you know my name now, so hi, welcome. I'm a digital artist as well as a traditional artist. Right now I'm really into watercolor, which is probably what brings you here today. I would say my favorite subject matter to paint is nature, and that is regardless of my medium. I like to take photographs of nature. I like to paint nature. I like to digitally create nature. Nature's just sort of my peaceful place, and I love to recreate it and just sort of find myself lost in the process. Here you'll see that I am working on a rather small piece of paper. I do this to help get my ideas down, build confidence, and just sort of play around with ideas that I would otherwise be afraid to waste paper on and paint on. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but I definitely get canvas paralysis, if you will. And in a moment, you're going to see me add some darker green to my medium green that I have laid down. The paint is still wet in some areas, and so that dark green is just going to sort of flow right into the base colored green that I already have laid down. Now, I don't know that this is the loosest style of watercolor out there, but for me, this is a very loose style. I tend to be very detail-oriented because of my perfectionism, and I'm trying to work on letting it go and just allowing myself to get into the flow of work rather than the stress of the work. So this is me being loose. I've placed some tape on the back side to help hold this in place. That way I can go ahead and add some details without having to hold down the paper with my other hand. So for this part, you're going to see that I'm using a finer brush for these smaller details, and I'm using a slightly darker colored green. And so I'm just building up the details a little bit here and there. As I've said in other videos, sometimes less is more, and you don't have to render every detail in order to get an image to register to the eye visually. Now, in total, this painting took probably 10 to 12 minutes. It is cut down in the editing, just so that way you guys don't have to hang out with me during those awkward pauses where I'm like mixing paint, grabbing paint, letting the elements dry. And you may have noticed that I also did use a low heat heat gun in order to expedite the drying process. Well, I have always had some awkward silence in my videos, and I think this is that spot. It happens in every one. They aren't planned. I just run out of things to say. And this is that time. I'll have more to say when we get to the next part. But yeah, so if you're just hanging out, hi, thanks. Make sure that you mash all the buttons, subscribe, engage. It's always appreciated. Gosh, this is taking forever. We're so close. All right, finally on to business. And now I go ahead and I add some light brown to the basket that the plant is hanging in. Once I sort of establish where I want the paint to rest on the paper, I start adding in more details. I also decided that this hanging plant had macrame. I hope I'm saying that right. And so I just put in just subtle details just to sort of convey again what it is without having to paint all the small details involved. Yeah, again, oh, aren't you guys lucky? A second awkward silence. Now I'm going in with a darker brown on top of the mostly dried paint, and I'm just making sure I get in any details that I don't feel are standing out enough that I really want to be conveyed. I add the little macrame line so that way it's very clear that it's being held. We don't want our plant falling, now do we? Now after this, you're gonna see me take a gold pen and draw in some lines. I don't mind that I added the gold lines, but what I do wish is I had just left it at this part that I'm currently working on. But I couldn't help myself, and I overworked the piece and I added gold where it didn't need to be. You're about to see that unfold. And, you know, I really encourage, I encourage you guys, one, always plan ahead for your pieces if you can. Anticipate that stage where you might overwork it, and maybe just take a break. I wish I'd taken a break, but I didn't. So here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It really does mean so much to me that you chose to sit with me during this project. So if you have any comments, suggestions, things you want to see, write them down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.